You guys last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vacation.
Hey, Dave, Peyton Hendershot, was that guy, when you guys traded for him, you had your eye on just for special teams and what he could do?
Yeah, he was a good player at Dallas. I talked to Fossil down there, and he called me immediately as soon as we traded for him. He said, "You got my guy." He does a good job. He can run, and he does a good job. He's real physical. He understands. He has good instincts, and he helped us in that game. He was able to step in on a short. Obviously when he got hurt, he get on a short notice and was able to be a three-phase player for us in that game. So it helped.
Looks like you tried a landing zone kickoff.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't work.
How come?
How come? We had missed tackles. We got held a little bit, but you can't complain about that. That happens every kickoff. So, we thought we could maybe get him inside the 25. We wouldn't have tried it if we didn't think we could do it. It got out on us, and we have to be better.
The kick was what you wanted.
The kick was perfect. It was inside the 5, and because Bucker could kick a touchback at will. So when he does put it in there, it's on purpose. He put it inside the 5 directionally. We just didn't make the play.
On the other end of it, you'll call it a 30-yard.
Yes, 33. Who's counting?
What did you see on that play?
It was a good job by him. We blocked it up pretty good. We doubled down the gunners. We had 6 guys in the box. We got a good punt. He set it up really well, and bounced it out to the wall. And once we got to the wall, he was able to, use his speed and get out. Unfortunately, that's where he got hit and landed on his shoulder. But he was able to come back in the game. I mean, he toughed it out and came back. It says a lot about him.
Who would have been next in your opinion?
Xavier was ready to roll, and he was excited about it. And a couple times we might have had 2 shots there where we were getting ready for punt return, and then they got the first down. So he was excited for the opportunity.
McCool is a pretty tough guy. I mean, he's
Yeah.
shown that over the years.
Yeah,
What's that say about him to want to come back there in that game?
Yeah, he did everything he needed to do to get back. He was in a lot of pain. I mean, obviously, he worked well with our trainers. Whatever they got him back in, be able to come back in the game, and it does. It says a lot about his toughness and what he's willing to do. For a football team. Later in his career, so it's pretty good.
Dave, I know we're basically at the midway point of the season. Any trends that you're noticing that sort of jump out to you that could play a bigger role in the second half of the season?
With the kickoff stuff, still the average yard starts right around 29-30, so there's no benefit either way. I don't think. I mean, I don't. You got to pick your spots. Obviously, we didn't pick a good spot last week, but I mean, you got to pick your spots to kick it to them. I still think that's holding true right now. It hasn't really changed midway through the season, and we see what we're getting now. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any surprises now. From this point on.
Are you seeing lots of different ways that other teams? I mean, you guys have whatever indicators you have if you're going to try to kick it short. I mean, how many different ways are people lining up there that you have to study?
It's that's what I'm saying. I mean, by now we've seen what everybody's doing. We've seen unbalanced. We've seen balanced looks. We've seen all kinds of crazy kicks. The thing that I thought, to be honest with you, I thought that there would be more of would be trying to spike the ball through the zone to get it out of the back of the end zone. But the returners are so good with 2 returners back there, you can't do that as much as I thought you'd be able to. Bucker did it in the last week. He got one in there, but it's hard to do. And the problem is if they get the ball in their hand, when you try to spike it and they get it quickly, they're going to get the ball at least to the 30, and that's the problem. So.
Couple more.
Is Justin Reed still an option if you
for his kick as a kicker? Yeah, he practices every week, and this is the week. He wants to do it badly, so we'll pick a spot and when he does it, when he's back there, we're going to spike it. We're kicking it to him. He's not going to kick a touchback when he's in there, so you can expect that.
A little scouting report on the Broncos. What are they like?
Oh man, they're really good, and I'm not just. I mean, this is real. They are probably top 5 unit right now. As it is right now, statistically. You put on a tape and it doesn't. They got our attention right away. I mean, they fly around. The returner Mims is probably the best guy we faced all year. Punter Riley Dixon moves the ball well. Kicker Lutz is doing a great job. I mean, well coached. Ben Kotwicka is probably. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. So we got our hands full. They're built. to dominate on special teams. They got a few of our ex-players too. They got Tremont Smith, and who else they got? They got somebody else. Oh, they got, Burton. Burton. I can't forget about Burton. I mean, shoot, he's a great player. So, yep.
Last
Good.
one, anyone?
Thanks.
Coach.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're all quiet today. I didn't think I'd get much response. So listen, it's a quick week coming off a Monday night game. Hopefully we get plenty of rest and get ready to play on Sunday. Nice to have a noontime game with a little sunlight out. So we're looking forward to that, and AFC West divisional game. So we're pretty fired up about that. With that, I'll open it up.
Coach, how did you feel Joshua Williams did with the added snaps?
Solid job. We got some things we got to work on. I think if you asked all the guys, I don't know, maybe you've spoken to them, but listen, the most important thing is we won the game. Nobody felt good about the way it ended defensively. The last thing we want to do is put the offense back out there, go to overtime, the whole thing. So that part was disappointing, and quite frankly, we need to get better there because in the last 3 games, the other 2 games were 2 possessions, a little bit different, but this one stung a little bit, and we hope to improve there. But getting back to your original question, I thought Josh was solid. There's some things we got to get better, and we'll see where we go from here.
Do you have any characteristics of what happened on that last drive?
I can't put my finger on anything. I've gone through the last 3 to see if there's anything, consistent. You got to make a play here or there. I think we missed the sack on one. We had a couple of mental errors that we addressed, and that can't happen in a 2-minute because it's too important. And I give them, Baker Mayfield did a really good job, so I give them a little bit of credit too. But we wanted to find a way to keep them out of the end zone and win the game in regulation instead of overtime.
Obviously, you guys are looking forward. We're already on to the next game. But
Yeah.
when you think about where you guys are now, what traits stand out to you about week to week, finding all these different ways to win,
Yeah.
all these games look? What is it that drives that?
Now, the head coach drives it first, then the quarterback, then hopefully the defense is factored in there somewhere. It's funny, you ask the question, and I don't know, maybe this is a fault, I don't know, but I'm kind of like so here that sometimes I'm unaware that we're winning games like we're winning them. Because all I'm really concerned about is not letting them score points to give our team a chance to win. But yeah, we've found ways ahead, behind, overtime, field goals, touchdowns, and I think it's a credit to the guys in the locker room, character of those guys.
Culture, is that another way to put it?
Yeah, no question. What Coach Reed has built here through Brett Veach and everybody that we have, you could list all the names, right? And the continuity of having a lot of the same people together from, myself to assistant coaches, I think that's huge. I think that goes unnoticed, and I think that's as important as anything.
What do you see? New quarterback. What do you see out of Bo Nix?
When are we going to get one that's not so good? Boy, for a rookie, he has a command. I went back and watched the first game he played in, and I thought Sean had him doing things that, sometimes you say, do you have a rookie do it in the first game that he plays? But yet there he is doing it. And I just think he's gotten better every week. He looks more comfortable. You guys see it. It's another athletic quarterback, and I think those guys are always headaches because there's certain things you can and can't do. Because you're afraid that he's going to make you look bad with his feet, and he can do that. And I think he's getting. Listen, the guy can throw the football. There's no doubt about that. They got themselves a good one.
He's played a lot of football, though.
Yeah.
Right? Can you tell the difference on rookies that have played that much college football?
It's a really good point. I hadn't really thought of it that way because to me it's like first year in the NFL, right? Yeah, but he's 24 something years old, right? You can see maturity in him when he's playing, just around his guys and the way he's communicating pre-snap. I mean, they function in a no huddle, or what we call a muddle huddle, quite a bit. That's not always easy for a young guy to do, and yet he's doing it pretty good.
Steve, what are the challenges when your cornerback room is as injured as it
Yeah,
is right now?
I mean, you don't want any one position to get dinged like that, and that's as important a position as there is in football, in my opinion. So, the next guy's got to step in there. Josh did it last week. We'll see where Nazi is at the end of the week. Keith Taylor's been, he's another guy that we may have to get in there, and we got to mix and match him somehow, try to keep the other guys healthy because we can't afford another injury back there.
Coach, in the context of opposing tight end production, is there somewhat of a correlation sometimes of avoiding explosives that you have to kind of give up something?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before about tight ends. I mean, if on first and second down you're doing something special to take away a tight end, you're weakening your run defense and or possibly what you're covering outside. So you pick and choose who you want to actually commit people to take away. Now, if you can get them in downs that favor us, the longer third downs, that's a little bit different. But we've faced some good ones. The guy last week did a really good job. They don't feature their tight end here as much, but he's a good football player. They got a couple of them. It's not like we neglect the tight end. We'd like to play better against them, but we want to make sure we're solid all the way across the board.
Nick?
Steve, I know you wrote a note on a unique photo recently for Piper. What made you want to do that? And are you going to take her up on the playing D line for you someday?
Porter Elliott stuff.
Oh, yeah. I love that little girl. Have you ever seen her get in the stance? She's great. And Porter, I love Porter. So for those of you that don't know Porter's daughter, Piper, he sent me, Porter goes and watches, she plays soccer. I think she plays field hockey, and she plays flag football. But she's an athlete, so I sent her it was a picture of her because Porter gave it to me, and I wrote a note that someday she'll be playing defense, for us. She was great. She sent another note. I got it hanging in my office. She's a doll. I love it.
Steve, what are your thoughts about Josh Uche and how he did the other night?
Who Adam?
Uche?
Listen, we were hoping to get, a few more snaps in there. It didn't work out that way. I think the snaps for Josh will go up. Look, you guys know this, in 3 days it's kind of hard to pick up any system, so we kind of fed, a little at a time. Joe's feeding him more. We just got through a walkthrough. We're in the first, second, and third down today. We got everything, so hopefully we can build on what he did last week.
Last one, anyone? Thanks, Coach.
Wore him out. It usually doesn't happen.
ahead.
Now, the success on third down all season, but really these last 3 games, what are some of the keys to that? And especially when you're not an explosive team, the importance of converting third down?
Yeah, it's very important. Probably just staying ahead of the sticks first, second down. And it always goes to that. That's kind of the common sense answer. But then also there's been some stuff with Pat using his legs. Conceptually, if something's not there, I think he does a good job of eyes down and then how can I make something happen with my feet? And then almost like you see, whether it's first, second, third down, he also now entices the defense. They got to stop him. And now he does a good job of still kind of playing that go, throw, or go type deal with the line of scrimmage where you either go and run, you throw it, or all of a sudden they think you're going to do that, and then he runs and gets a first down. So it's a combination of all of that, but I'll go back to the start, first and second down, staying ahead of the sticks, and then eliminating penalties.
Similar, I guess, to that question, Pat has just looked more comfortable these past 2 weeks. What do you find has maybe led to some of that?
Well, I think that for Pat, I think it's something for him as far as like the run. You notice the last several weeks the run game has really been, I mean, we've been running the ball a lot. I feel like there's a little bit of an identity that's being created here as we get to the middle of the season. Sometimes that identity happens instantly a couple weeks in. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. I feel like maybe that's the case of not just for the offense, but for the team in general of how we feel like we can win this year. And when you protect the football, you don't have turnovers, you don't have penalties on offense, and you score touchdowns like those 3 out of the last 4 drives we had last week. Football can be fun on offense, and you can score point, defense, etc. And I feel like we're really getting that identity.
Related to the point of identity, what's enabled you guys to be so adaptable? Some significant flux at skill positions and all that, and it seems like you're just always evolving.
Probably the mentality that Coach Reed has, no matter who it is. I say this and I mean it. He doesn't care and we don't care. Whoever's out there, we put it on us that we gotta stay together. We got to do what's best for the players, whoever it is. We believe in those guys. We hope they believe in us. And then let's go stay positive and make things happen. And guys have done that. They've been able to step in. Some guys have had prior history that we know with Juju and Kareem. But there's other guys, too, that are going to have to step up. But they feel the belief, and Coach Reed has the belief in his players and coaches. We all feel that, and it's something that just organically grows.
And just with that, I mean, you're really not blowing anybody out, but it sort of doesn't matter. I mean, does it make you feel like, oh, we have so many different ways to win now? Is that been something that's come of this?
I think it has. I think for sure. I think it gives you an idea of knowing that the games that you go into, you have confidence and trust that no matter whether you're losing by a couple touchdowns, whether you're winning by a couple, and this game it's a one-score game in the end in the NFL. So how are you going to win? Is it defense? Is it via special teams? Or is it with offense in an overtime drive to win it and not give them the ball? Or is it a 4-minute drive to end the ball with victory formation? And so probably here, although it hasn't been the fantasy numbers on offense like we've talked about, it's well documented, the one thing is we're winning games, and I think we're learning how to win games different ways, and that's so important when you get down the road in other games.
Matt, looking back at the Tampa game, you guys weren't getting much done with the running game in the first half, and then that first possession, the second half was 3 and out, all passes.
Mm-hmm.
What told you at that point, okay, we can go back to the running game here, and we can make it work this time?
Well, yeah, I think stating the obvious is we went 3 and out with 3 passes. And so then I think naturally you just kind of go to, okay, let's get into running the ball a little bit, see what happens with the run game. And when we came back to the run game, we were getting some chunks, and we were getting, whether it's 4 or 8 yards, they were positive gains, which then opens up those pass plays. So I think it was probably a little bit of that. And then also it doesn't hurt either having those big O linemen come over to the sideline every now and then and let you know, hey, man, let's get this thing going. They want to put it on their shoulders. We love that too. So that happens a lot. You never want to see that change. But it was kind of that mode right then and there. I think we all felt like, okay, they even might know that we're going to run the ball, but they got to stop us.
On that front, when you're in a game like that and everything's happening, you guys are calling plays. What is is there a little checks and balances where someone says, we haven't run the ball in a long time? How does that kind of work?
No, there's not checks and balances with. I mean, there's a feel to that, but I think one of the beautiful parts of our team, our players, and I'm speaking from the offensive side of the ball, is in moments where there might be a little bit of a struggle or a little bit of a pause or not pause, but a stall in the offense. What I love is when guys come to the sideline and they all want the ball. I think that's great. You know, whether it's O linemen want to run the ball, or it's the running back wants to run the ball, or wide receivers want to catch the ball, quarterback wants to throw the ball. There's a lot that goes on. But when you have guys that in those moments that want the ball, that's a good thing. And so when you get to those moments, and then we go ahead and get some rhythm going, it can be pretty good because you get guys that really want to be out there and help us win different ways.
We talk about chemistry between the quarterback and the pass catchers, but in your offense, it's almost a triangle chemistry between Mahomes, Hopkins, and Kelsey, and all between. How have you seen that be almost baked in with DeAndre and his experience? Does he seem to think the same way that Kelsey and Mahomes do?
Oh, for sure. There has been an instant synergy with Pat and DeAndre, instant, and sometimes those take a lot more for some guys than others. But he's come in here and has just picked up. And when I say that, I don't use the term lightly, but these guys are really. Pat and D-Hop are really thinking the same way on certain routes, especially in zone, which is crazy because it doesn't normally always happen like that. It normally takes time. But from the first really second practice till our last game, there's some stuff in there that they're putting on tape that makes it tough, especially when you put Kels on the same side or other side that thinks the same way as long as him and Pat have been doing it. That's tough. And then you get the run game going, and these guys are seeing it, and even J. Watt, right? J. Watt had a great play on third down, a couple great plays on third down where he's getting open in zone. And so it's really neat to see when guys are thinking like Pat. And for D-Hop, he's been doing it a long time, and it's been instant with him.
Last one, Todd.
Broncos defense looks like they're playing really well. What are the biggest challenges they're going to have for you?
Well, I mean, I go back to, the last couple of years, but specifically last year. I mean, they had that rough game against the Dolphins where they gave up a bunch of points, but they came right on back, and Coach Joseph does a heck of a job schematically. He's familiar with what we do, but those players play hard, and they know the scheme. They don't do a lot of crazy stuff, but they do what they do really well. I think, you look at the numbers statistically. Again, Baltimore, got after them in certain ways, different things that they did, but that defense plays hard and they play fast, and so it's a division game. These teams know a little bit about you, so it'll be a strap it up and a fist fight in the backyard.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Take care.
What do you see from Bo Nix on tape as you've watched him through this rookie year, about halfway through it now?
Yeah, he's definitely improved since every game he's been in this league. I think they do a good job of mixing things up for him, especially on first down, kind of staying ahead of the sticks and kind of some movement passes, get him out the pocket, let him use his assets, what his strengths are. I think they're great. Good on the O-line's good as well, especially the interior guys. I think they do a great job of creating push and keeping them clean, and he escapes out the backside and uses his speed.
Coach talked about the last series defensively that you guys had against Tampa. Can you talk about that series and what do you guys take from giving up that touchdown?
Yeah, I think it's been the last 3 games we've had. We gave up a touchdown. We've been up 2 scores. I think a year ago we were a lot better in those situations and just closing out games. And so we understand that if we want to be able to end goal, we got to be able to close out games, put teams away. Leaving a lot out there to chance with onside kicks and stuff like that. They don't have to be there. So I think it's something we've got to harp on now. Definitely Coach Baggs has been on it, and we got such an urgency for it.
Anybody else?
Nick, you guys have been really successful this year against the run on a week-by-week basis. What do you think goes into that?
Yeah, I think it stops up front. I think Coach Baggs gives us a great opportunity to kind of mix up fronts, give them different looks. We don't really sit in the same fronts and let them get a key on what we got or what the run schemes are going to be. We kind of mix it up, run some pressures, put Chris different places, and kind of causes confusion a little bit too. But yeah, I think that kind of all that stuff goes into having good run defense, and then obviously guys turn off blocks, and my DBs are making tackles when we need them to. That helps.
In this case, on 33 Williams, just
Yeah.
what's unique about it?
Yeah, man, I think kind of like me, he's a shorter guy, and so center to gravity, pad level. He likes to finish runs, and he uses his leverage to his advantage. And so it's definitely going to be one of those games where you got to kill the engine. That's how we say it. Hit him below the legs and kind of stop his legs from moving. It's going to be gang tackling. We're going to need a lot of pursuit.
Nate, last one.
I asked Steve about this a little bit earlier, a few weeks ago, Nick. Being the Mike linebacker, obviously you kind of know where everyone is and what everybody's supposed to do. How long did it take you to get, I guess, comfortable with the idea that, like, okay, I tell the play call, everybody gets lined up, and then Chris goes outside to inside or outside to inside, you know, within a matter of, you know, the offense sort of setting up its formation?
Yeah, I think probably took me to about at least halfway through my second year. Really just feeling comfortable, him moving around and still making sure that we can get guys who are dropping to be in the right positions, or guys who have different stunts, or making sure guys basically get the rush right. So it took me probably about 8 games into my second year. I was kind of feeling comfortable. I can get everybody aligned, and I think now we're rolling. I think the best thing about it is you got guys around him that are smart, understanding what he's trying to do from looking at the tape and communicating with them, and ever just playing around him. I think that kind of helps him get one-on-one rushes and generation pressures.
Is there a moment where you said, "Oh, he's doing that," and then in your mind you're like, "Oh, that actually might work"?
Yeah.
What's that process like, where you sort of see that example play out?
Yeah, I think the Cincinnati game, when we went to the Super Bowl, we played the Eagles. He lined up inside, last second, bumped Carlos Dunlap down, went out to outside rush, and in the game, went to the Super Bowl. So obviously we know it works. We just got to find ways to give him opportunities, and if it fits the defense and we can do it, we're definitely going to.
If you could relive that, what was your thought in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't know what he was doing at first. Based on what we haven't really done that all week, but it wasn't really compromising the scheme or anything. But he said he saw something on tape that he think he could take advantage of. So he lined up outside, man, and he hit him with a speed rush, knocked his hands down, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Chris is right behind.
Halfway through his rookie year, what have you seen from him on tape as he's kind of gone through this year?
I think he's progressing. Been a fan of his since he was at Auburn and he went to Oregon. SEC guy through and through. Huge fan of his, man. How he plays the game. has the ability to escape the pocket, can make all the throws. But he's progressing. To be a young quarterback, he's progressing fast.
Maybe a little design run stuff with him sometimes too, right? Is that a challenge you guys don't usually see every week?
Yeah, similar to Josh Allen. I don't think he has the big play moments of Josh Allen, but he's very comparable in a lot of things he does in the scheme. They're running with him, whether it's getting him in open field, keeping the ball in his hands on certain downs and distance, and giving him the ability to play with instinct. So I think it's for us to prepare, making sure we're able to keep him in the pocket and get after him.
Chris, these last 3 weeks with Mike out, Felix got 30-plus snaps in each game. What did you see from him in this run, as Mike kind of gets back into the mix?
I think Felix is moving in the direction we want him to. We got a lot of high hopes for Felix. We knew coming into training camp his snap count was going to come up after last year, and I think he's been answering the call well, especially with us having some guys down because of injury.
Chris, of course, we're thinking about Denver now, but when you think about what it is that's allowed you guys to keep winning and win in so many different ways, what do you think are the couple, 3 traits that make that?
Playing fundamentally sound, playing together, making sure we're relying on each other. I don't think it's a one-man suit on this team. I think collectively it takes 11 guys, 11 guys buying in, doing their job to the best ability, and that put us in a possibility to win. So I think we continue to do that week in and week out and continue to put ourselves in good position to win a game.
And I'm sure that's all about culture in some ways. When you think of the culture of this team or describe the culture of this team, how do you define it?
I think it go hand in hand, cultural and also players. Every culture don't have a Pat Mahomes. Every culture don't have a Travis Kelce. So when you say cultural, man, you got to talk about players too. It go hand in hand. But when you think about the culture of it, it's like it's a team-friendly type of culture, man. Everybody is happy-go-lucky around here. Everybody is excited to be in the building. I think this is a place and a space where we enjoy coming into. I've heard different stories about other organizations, and it's exciting to come in the building and work for this organization every morning. So,
Chris, when you got maybe that split second, particularly third down, when you're deciding where to line up, kick outside, whatever it may be, how many factors are going through your mind? What are your different considerations?
Whether I'm getting the slide, the game, how much I'm getting the slide, whether the best lineup, the best matchup that I can feel like I can win immediately, and also the play calling. I just don't do my own thing.
When in your career did you kind of begin to, they let you have the ability to do those things?
My Spags allowed me to.
When was that? Was there a moment where he's like, I get what you're doing?
Spags might beg to differ. I think it's a accountability thing between me and Spags. We have a lot of interpersonal meetings amongst us before the game and leading up to the game, and what I'm comfortable with, what he's comfortable with, and certain schemes and certain play callings, I'm able to exercise my rights and go outside or go inside, depending on what play or what formation they show. And sometimes I overdo it at times, It's like taking a blitz. It's like a calculated risk, right? I take a lot of calculated risk, So high reward or no reward. So it's a catch-22.
Couple
Was
more.
there a period of time where you were trying to negotiate the point with Spags and it was just, nah? I mean, how did that process go?
We're still trying to negotiate. We're still in the process and that point of still negotiating. He's stubborn. He's very stubborn, but we're slowly easing him up to agree to a lot of different things he's not comfortable with. It's a work in progress.
Has there ever been a time where you went back to the sideline and he looked at you like, what was that? Or you've been like, hey, I thought I really had this part. Like, has there ever been a time like that?
It's been multiple times. Well, like I tell Spags, just like you blitz, right? You seen something on film that you thought was there, and like a blitz that doesn't get there. You seen something that made you want to blitz, right? So I seen something on film that made me want to line up in the 9 technique when I'm supposed to have been in the 3, okay?
Last one, Nick.
Yeah, Chris, for you talking about Steve as a coordinator, but what is he like as a person off the field? Because I know you guys have had dinner sometimes, and his wife will make you and stuff like that.
His wife can cook like the best Italian food, okay? Oh my God, her Italian food. She makes a really good meatloaf also. Oh, shout out to Miss Bags. She's amazing. She do so much for this defense that unspoken for, and she doesn't get her flowers. I'm here to give her her flowers. But Spags is a heck of a guy. You know, one thing about it, he loves his wife, and he reminds us of it every day. He's very lucky to have her. And he's a man of God. He leads by faith. And he has his favorites, you know. Like Nick Bolton is his favorite. I'm probably his 5th favorite, close to last, but it's okay. No, Spags is a great guy, man. Spags is a great guy. That's my guy. That's my guy. When you talk about, you have certain guys in the building where you can depend on them for anything. Spags is one of those guys. Prime example, Mike Pennell. Don't mean to tell Mike business, but it's on Twitter, okay? It's not fake news. Mike got his car stolen this week, right? So I went and told Spags. I wasn't letting Mike my car. I said, Spags, Mike got his car stolen. And Spags asked him, you want to use my car? Just what type of guy he is. I told Spags, thank you for lending him your car because I can't afford to lend him mine. I only have one. Y'all have a beautiful day.